Got Ryan Bundy in here. This is my boy Finicum. I'm going to go meet the people in Day County, in Grant County. If you want to shoot me, you shoot me. But I'm not going anywhere. Here I am, right there. Right there, put a bullet through it. Go ahead and shoot me.
Damn!
Shoot me, shoot on the ground.
I'm not asking anybody to grab a gun and go out and shoot anybody.
I believe that it was a set-up ambush where they assassinated him.
He didn't need to be murdered. He had his hands in the air, and he could have been arrested, put down on the ground, stun gun, something. You know, they didn't have to do what they did.
I have nothing to hide. We have nothing to hide. We did nothing wrong. We didn't hurt anybody.
They had planned it and orchestrated it to happen the way it happened. They knew somebody was going to end up dead that day.
If I lay down and just cry and give up, then they've won. And I won't do that. I refuse to give in to them.
He didn't need to be murdered. They need to be held accountable for what they've done.
Go ahead and shoot me.
Damn!
Shoot me, shoot on the ground.
Stay down, stay down.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clive Bundy's never hurt anybody. He would give his heart and soul to somebody if he thought they needed him more than him. His heart hurts to know that there's his sons and a lot of other young men that are in there because they stood with him and they're not home with their babies and their families and their wives. And he carries that burden. It's very, very hard.
He may never get out of jail.
He may not.
He may die in jail. Is that the way this thing is going?
I hope not. I mean, it could, and I think that the federal government would love to see that happen, but I don't believe that that's the way it'll happen. I think that there will be an end to it. We need to see how Oregon plays out. That's going to set a precedence and be very important in the Nevada case. My story stays the same, so I don't really care if they're paid by the FBI or not.
Informants.
Informants. I have nothing to hide. We have nothing to hide. We did nothing wrong. We didn't hurt anybody. If anybody was hurt, it was done by their hand, the federal government's hand. And this is a bump in the road for us. It's a big bump in the road. But we're going to make it. You know, and if my husband, because of his age, doesn't make it out, I will deal with that when the day comes, but I'm not going to worry about it now.
Hang on.
Okay, they're shooting.
Hang on.
Okay, sit down. Okay, we're here.
Go ahead and shoot me.
Damn! Trying to. Stay down, stay down. Stay down. Stay down. Stay down. Damn it. Are they shooting him? Did I shoot him?
My husband's life was worth it. Was worth freedom. And the liberties that we're losing in this country, it was worth it. I would hate to think that it wasn't worth it, because then his life would have been for nothing. He didn't need to be murdered. He had his hands in the air, and he could have been arrested in a different way, you know, put down on the ground, stun gun, something. You know, they didn't have to do what they did. But they had planned it. They had planned it and orchestrated it to happen the way it happened. They knew somebody was going to end up dead that day, or they wouldn't have gone to such great lengths.
Well, we found out in court testimony that the driver of one of the vehicles was a paid government informant.
Mm-hmm. We knew that in the beginning. We didn't need to wait just 8 months to figure that out. He was the first one to jump on Facebook and give a completely false statement in reference to what happened. He wouldn't have been able to have seen Lavoie get out of his truck. He wouldn't have been able to see anything. I could not sleep at night if I didn't do something, and to try to hold them accountable for the murder of my husband. He didn't need to be murdered, so they need to be held accountable for what they've done. I've already seen so much positive that has come from what has happened, from the 2014 incident to my husband's death. The American people have been awakened. They're more conscious of what's going on. Some young people are starting to open a book, and some are starting to read the Constitution for the very first time, you know, and starting to understand what those words mean. They're reading my husband's book and learning about God and family and how our individual rights matter. and that we don't have to be swallowed up in a collective whole, that we still have our freedom of choice. So the thousands and thousands of people that have responded because my husband was murdered, they will continue to go forward, and they will continue to move forward. I know he's up there, I know he's watching, I know he's so very, very proud.
Do you talk to him?
Sometimes it's I miss you and I love you and I can't wait to be with you again. And other times is, well, what the heck did you think you were doing? But I know he's proud. I know he's proud of the American people that are waking up and taking a stand. I know that he is hoping that more and more people will be affected by whoever, because it's a chain reaction in some ways, right? Mm-hmm. One person can affect many, but then those many go out and affect more. And I'm hoping for a real change in this country.
The men in prison need to hear this and see this, because so many times they sit in there and they feel like that at the outside we're just going on and we've forgotten about them. And so for me to go say, look, we had over 200 people that just came today to show their love and support and help us, and they need to see that, and they need to see the light, because they need a little bit of light in that dark hole that they sit in right now.
Our family has decided to continue my husband's message. He wanted to teach about liberty and about the liberties lost, and how do we get them back. The word patriot is demonized.
$15 bid here, 15 now, 20.
What has this country come to when we can't go and freely speak what's on our mind?
Life goes on. They can't put their life on hold because Lavoy Finicum gave his life for this fight. They can't put their life on hold because my husband and 4 sons and a whole lot of other patriots sit in prison.
Oh, I love you.
But they can come to something like this and give me a hug and love me and support me. And by doing that, many hands make light work. So everybody gives a little bit and it becomes something great and wonderful.
I don't think it has been for nothing. And I have faith that it's not done. This movement is moving forward. It's rolling forward.
When you see those little kids crying for their daddy at night, you wonder if it's worth it.
Yes.
But you know what? If we don't fight now for freedom, those little kids won't have freedom. There's a purpose for everything in this life. And would I tell my husband to not do what he did? No. Never. Never. Do I like where they are now? No. Do I wish it was different? Yes. Will it be? Yes. No doubt in my mind.